Hi everyone, Cassie and Eric here, and thanks for joining us on She Talks, He Listens, the podcast where we dive into the ups and downs of relationships through all of life's twists and turns.
We're here to share our journey with you and explore the many lessons we've learned along the way. Whether you're just starting out, hoping to strengthen your relationship, or working to reconnect, we've got you covered. Join us as we challenge and inspire you to grow together and become the very best versions of yourself, side by side.
All right, welcome back everybody to She Talks, He Listens. It has been a while. We are just surviving really, but we're happy to be back, and we've had to kick this down the road.
Yeah, kick our can down the road. Well, to be honest, for those of you that are new or haven't listened before, we have a 2-month-old. And so really it's my fault that we haven't recorded because I have not felt like it. I haven't felt like recording. And every time Eric asked me, I just like came up with an excuse not to because I don't feel like myself. I'm in like the postpartum trenches. My anxiety is awful and I feel like I'm like fighting the depression demons every day. And not that I want to share that with you guys, but I decided that if there's someone else who has related or is in it, like it wouldn't be fair to not be unapologetically myself in this conversation because we agreed to be honest with you guys, even when it's hard. And I just kept telling myself, I want to feel better. I want to look better. I want to be my Cassie self when we record the next episode. And then I realized, like, after you had asked me like three or four times that I was not just going to magically get better overnight and that it would be probably months before we would be able to record again. So I'm showing up today. We're doing this, even though that I'm still kind of in that phase. But I will say that part of the battle is just showing up. And so right now, we're not sleeping and we are tired. And I definitely am just kind of like trying to get back into the groove of my new normal with two awesome littles, but just figuring that out. So that's going to lead us into today's conversation about transactional versus transformational relationships. You want to kind of talk about what got us here?
Yeah, well, you look great.
Thanks, babe.
Thanks for joining the show today. Appreciate it. But yeah, transformational versus transactional is a concept. We're both in sales, so we thought that we could relate that, back to relationships here.
Yeah.
And when you're feeling like every day is Groundhog Day, you can get stuck in that transactional mindset of it's just kind of surface level stuff. You're not really digging into, if you're in sales, the customer's needs or their why or anything like that. It's just, at home, it's, what are we having for dinner? Are you taking the kids to school?
Well, I think with sales, we are trained, well, old school sales is like you just feature dump or talk about you or your product or like picture Matilda's dad, like the used car salesman. That's what I always think of like when I think of old sales. Now, I feel like sales training has progressed to really focus on something transformational, being curious, like digging deeper, finding out the customer's why. And we talk about it being a transformational experience instead of super transactional. Well, when you and I were talking about the next episode, I was thinking about how our phase of life right now and our marriage has been really transactional. And it is who's cooking dinner? Did you do this? Like, when was the last time the baby
let the
ate?
dogs
Let
out.
the dogs out. Yeah. And it is. It's Groundhog Day and it's hard. It's frustrating.
Wake up, make breakfast,
Yeah.
take our kid to school, come back, feed the baby.
Yeah.
And it's just every single morning, it's exactly the same at this, really the same time. So it truly has been Groundhog Day for, 2 months, almost 3 months now.
Well, and I think if you're
and doing it on no sleep, so your bandwidth is already, a little bit thinner.
Yeah. Well, and I think the idea it doesn't have to be a new baby. Like I think anytime there's a big life transition, whether it's a new job, a new baby, a new house, maybe it's a new relationship, or maybe it's an old relationship that's gotten comfortable. It's really easy for things to fall into like this transactional rhythm. And even talking this morning about recording, I was like, we're not taking our own advice very well right now. So let me just tell you, if you're listening, we have not perfected this system. We will not pretend like we've got it figured out. Like,
well, I think things take time.
Yeah.
And
I don't like that.
I know you don't. Yeah. You're impatient or our child's impatient.
Impatience is a harsh word. I would say we like solutions. We like to get things
You
done.
like it
We
right
want
now.
it to
Yeah.
happen. Yeah.
You're
Like let's get it done. Yeah.
so yeah, I mean, you want things done right now, but it does take time. Just reflecting back on, when we had our first one, it did take a lot of time. And
Way too long.
I think once we found our groove, had a routine, school started, we got at least an hour, couple hours back.
Yeah.
Um,
Well, and I also was trying to find myself. Like the
you can
first
go to
postpartum
work.
journey was really rough.
Yeah, you can go to work and then you have that little break from the kid, and then you have a little bit more energy to make dinner, play with them at night, those types of things. Like you're I don't want to say recharging because you're still at work, but you do that little break,
Hmm.
that work gives you, even though you're working. It's not, having to be 100% on for work and your kid. So you have a little bit more time, at night to focus on those things.
Yeah, but I mean, even what you're just talking about is all about the kid. So like that's kind of the struggle is like when we think about our relationship and our marriage right now, and like no matter what phase you are in listening to this, it's like how do you juggle all of that
Right.
while also taking care of your marriage or your relationship, whatever it may be. And that is hard.
It
Like
is.
it was really, really hard with our first because I mean, I had postpartum anxiety, I had postpartum depression. I was not myself. I was so angry about everything. I felt every feeling you could possibly feel. And a lot of it was directed at you. So, I mean, it was a huge wedge in our relationship. And it took us a while to get through that. And then before this baby, we were like, okay, what can we do to be proactive? What do we do to make that not happen again? And I definitely don't feel like it's as hard or that I'm as angry, but I definitely think that it's the struggle with our marriage is the same because it's impossible to be intentional for each other when we have to take care of two littles and two freaking fur babies who are a whole level of special. Like I don't even know how
I,
to describe that part of the
I've
process.
given you a solution to that problem,
Yeah,
but
Eric's solution right now is to get rid of our dogs. And for anyone listening who has fur babies that had fur babies before
not get
kids
rid of
or
them.
just have fur babies at all, you have said some
Have them
very dark things
have
about what we
them
should do with our
adopted by
dogs.
a loving family
Oh my
who can
gosh.
give them attention that they need.
Okay, you know what? I just realized this is the squirrel ADHD moment. We never talked about our cool new background and we never did our victory lap. We just jumped right in. We'll circle back.
We got really
What do
excited.
I say? We'll circle back. Is that what I
Yeah,
say?
we'll circle
We'll
back.
circle back. We did just get really excited. No, like the dogs, like I think that's a whole other layer of like when you had babies before you actually had babies, which we had two, Nola and Daisy, adding them into the mix with your kids. We have four people, four things with a heartbeat that depend on us right now. Four living little things that all depend on us.
Mhm.
And on top of that, like we have all these random layers of complexity. We don't have a yard. We moved into a new house that is, they're actually here about to grade it. Thank God. But like, there's just so many things. My therapist actually said, she was like, everything that could be hard for you guys right now is hard.
But if you reflect back to, I think one of our episodes, we talked about this, like put all the chaos into one period of time,
Mhm.
and hopefully, I know we're saying hopefully, but
Like
like
it's going to be easy. Like we just
hopefully it
did it
will
all at
get
once.
easier.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
I mean, maybe.
because
I think that's a hopeful attitude.
moving's hard, unpacking's hard. We're doing it all while you were, pregnant and had a baby. So
Mhm.
we're doing those things,
It's
and
your busy season.
my busy season, and that's the other thing, like over the last 3 to 4 months, it's been winter, so you can't go out and paint fields, and no one's really thinking about that. So I've been, working from home, and now I'm back on the road, and I think you kind of forgot about like, what that demo season kind of
Oh,
looks
I
like.
didn't forget. I just had been thrown into the freaking deep end with two little girls and two fur babies and you not being here. Like,
Yeah, I mean, it's hard.
shout
It's
out
hard.
to, military spouses and people whose, significant others are gone for extended period of times. Or if you're a single parent listening to this, I'm just like, how? Period. I mean,
Mhm.
I just don't get ready anymore. I don't shower. Like I wear mascara for 49 days in a row. My hair does not get washed. Like it just doesn't happen. And then if I get to do something, it's one of those things. So I pick one. I no longer get the basic needs of life all at one time. It's like pick your makeup, pick your hair, pick your shower. Don't pick all three. It
Hmm.
just, and nursing, like the whole pumping situation, it's just a freaking hot mess. And then I get angry because I like control. I really do. I like to have control over my situation and like what is going on. And when you're a new mom, like you don't get to control anything. So, yeah.
Well, I mean, there's a lot on your plate, but some of those things that you just named are going to be taken off. And that's what I'm saying. Like over the course of time, it is going to take time, but you slowly but surely get that time back
Yeah.
into your day.
So, what we're going to talk about today is this self-assessment tool or self-relationship assessment tool
Yeah.
that we've made that we will share with y'all. I don't know how we're going to share it. I'll figure it out. But we're going to go through some of the questions because I think some of them are really real relevant to everyone, but like we could be asking ourselves these questions too. So it's like the hat game without the hat in real time. We just don't have the hat because you guys know how that went over. If you haven't listened to that episode, you should. Was it episode 2 or 3, the pet peeves showdown?
I think it was probably
Still
3.
one of my favorite episodes. Eric didn't enjoy the hat game as much as I did, but it was
I
great.
just didn't understand the point of that.
Yeah, yeah. Okay, so question number 1 is when life feels chaotic or uncertain, do we focus more on who's doing what and keeping score or how we can support each other emotionally and grow together? So I think we should kind of answer these. I mean, we didn't plan this at all, but
No,
like
no, this is
let's
raw.
let's talk about this. When life feels chaotic or uncertain, do we focus more on who's doing what and keeping score or how we can support each other emotionally and grow together?
Well, I think, you mentioned it at the beginning of the podcast, like you're going through postpartum. So
Yeah.
like right now, I feel like you're keeping score
Oh, I'm totally keeping score.
where, and it's, there were some things like last week I went golfing and you're like, live your best life.
I said,
while I'm
live
here.
live your best life for us because
And I'm
I
like,
love this for
what
you.
does that mean? Because you just, you went out and you scheduled trips. And so, um,
We're,
but like as we, and let me talk.
okay, I'm gonna give you your space.
This is
Here's the talking
He
stage.
talks, she listens today.
I felt a little bit of Kevin Hart. You're gonna learn today. Oh man. Okay, continue
Uh,
on.
but let's see, you interrupted my train of thought. So the golfing thing, and then like when you're scheduling these trips, or like if uh, you went out to dinner or whatever, I'm like, yeah, go.
Oh, sorry.
This past week, and
Yeah.
then a couple weeks before, I'm like, go, because I know you need the time away, and I've always really been like that. Like, just do do what you want.
Yeah, but
I
there's a
always
lot.
support
I
you through
feel
it.
guilt. I feel guilt leaving always.
Like, I would never be like, oh, I changed 3 diapers today. You've only
I
changed one.
changed 3.
No, I'm just using that as an
Okay.
example.
I just want to clarify
Like,
because we share the diaper duty and
I
you're really good about that.
I'm
I know
not
some people don't
I'm
do
not
that.
one to keep score because I don't know.
Because you don't care.
I've
Because you
no.
go with the flow.
No, I've played team sports and it's a team effort. Like I don't I feel like
I
you've
agree.
never been
I
part
think
of a
this is
team, so you're
easy.
like, I'm
This is
doing
easy for
this.
you to say
I've done all
because
these
you're
things and you
just
haven't done anything.
the weight. And so it's easy. It's like, when you're running, is it track and they pass the baton? Like I'm running and
I
I'm
know.
holding that baton and
No,
I'm
and
dropping it.
you are doing a lot of the legwork because I'm gone, but
So it's easy, I think, for you to say that.
yeah, when I'm here, I am doing what I can.
Mm-hmm.
When I'm like I can't control that I, work for a living.
So, in response to the question, I think that what we need to challenge ourselves to do, if you're thinking about when life feels chaotic or uncertain, how can we support each other emotionally and grow together? We're not always good about this.
We
Like,
could be more intentional about
yes.
going out. Now that we have some help, we could schedule, a date night
Yeah,
or
we haven't been on a date since before Sophie was born.
yeah,
That was 11 weeks ago.
yeah, it's been tough because we have been trying to unpack the house and just find a little bit of a groove, which I think we're
I go
making
to bed at
progress
like 8 o'clock.
towards. Yeah. So it's a little bit tougher right now just because of the schedule, but
Yeah.
That's also an excuse on our end.
Yeah.
And it's easy to make excuses when you talk about those things, and I feel like that's why we're having this conversation.
Right.
If you go to bed at 8, maybe one day we just go to bed at 8:30 or 9
Yeah.
o'clock.
Well,
But
we stayed up late with your brother last week to visit with him.
yeah,
So
it was
maybe
rough the next day, but
so rough. But
we we need just to start scheduling, ask for help And it could really just be an hour, 2 hours, or we could, go back to our breakfast date.
Yeah. Well, and I think too, this is not planned, y'all. This is like raw, real time conversation. And I think that was the whole point of this is like, we go back and forth like between who's doing what and keeping score, then being supportive. And I think what's important is that you just have to be cognizant of where you are. Like you cannot stay in the place of who's doing what and keeping score forever, or your relationship will not make it. Like it's exhausting, it's tiresome. Like you can't constantly be resenting the other one for feeling like you're doing more than they are. Like you said, it is a team sport. You have to feel like you're going at it 50-50. But I love, there's like a video or a reel or something where there's a couple who they have a code word, and basically it's like you shout out your number. It's like I'm 20 today, and then the partner is like, okay, well I'll be to 80 because maybe you had a rough day or you were gone or whatever, and then I'm 60 the next day and you're 40. And I thought that was a really cool concept to really just be constantly checking in. But I think the thing to take away from this question is don't stay in that space. Like if you are doing the who's doing what and keeping score, you can't stay there. And we're very aware that like I'm in rare form right now, and I know that that was part of why I didn't want to have a second baby anyways, because I didn't want to have to go through postpartum again. So if you are experiencing that, or someone you love is experiencing that, I just feel like giving them grace and being patient, but having accountability. Like I know, and and my counselor knows, like I can't be in this space forever, but also I just want to be out of it. And it's hard. Like it's freaking hard.
Yeah. Well, I mean, for any guys that listen to this show, like, do as much as you can. Don't try and provide solutions. I think back a couple weeks ago where I'm like, okay, well, here's the fix. And you're like, I don't want a fix. I just want to be heard
Yeah.
or whatever you said. And I'm like, okay, so
Yeah.
just, I
That's
just
a good question though.
let you vent and kind of get a read on you sometimes, whether I can interject or not. But most of the time, just listen.
Well, and there's nothing
Let her
wrong.
talk and listen.
She talks, he listens.
Yeah.
There's nothing wrong with saying, and I do this with my friends. I did this morning. Do you want a solution or do you want me to be here to listen?
Mm.
Like, there's nothing wrong with asking that question, because sometimes I do want you to fix things, and then other times I just want you to listen. And you can't always, like, that's the one thing I would say if you're a woman listening to this. Men can't read our minds. I know that's crazy. I know maybe you thought they could, but they just can't. And so for a long time, I thought you could read my mind. We've been together 87 years. So, like, how can you not read my mind at this point? But they can't. So, like, you have to say what you're thinking and feeling, because they won't figure it out.
My rule of thumb is just do the opposite of what you say. If you say you're fine, then you do the
This is
thing.
not good advice.
I just feel like that cracks the woman's code is if the woman says something, if you say something, the man just do the opposite because that's what they want you to do. And if you don't do it, then
Can you think of a real time example? Because I don't agree with that. No. Nope. Okay.
not off the top of my
Okay.
head. I'll bring something back
Okay,
for
you'll
next
circle
week.
back. You'll
Yeah,
circle
I'll
back.
circle back
Okay.
to it.
I want to skip to question 3. So we're not going to give you all the questions because we could be here all day, but we will share this checklist or tool, whatever you want to call it. It's not fancy. It's just these questions. We'll go to number 3. Are our check-ins mostly about logistics, meat, chores, money, meals, chores, money, or do we also make space to ask, how are you feeling today? What's been heavy for you lately? Where can I be more present?
Right now it's exactly like meals,
Logistics,
chores,
transactional.
money.
Yeah.
And again, like we've put ourselves in this position
Mhm.
where it really is all about that. Like, there's not a we wake up at 6 with our first, and then our second is up at 6:30, and then like you're getting ready for school, and I'm handling the baby, and then
Yeah.
you take him to school, then we both work, and then we come home and it's dinner. Like,
Unless you're
and then
gone, and then it's me
yeah, and
alone
then
in
then
the wilderness.
before you know it, it's 8 o'clock, 8:30, and that's your bedtime. So you go to bed, and I
Because
stay
our
up for about
baby
an
is
hour.
up all night. I just want to preface
No,
that
and
with like I am a grandma, but like this eight
I
o'clock bedtime
I
is
am not.
stupid.
That is not something that I'm like, you know. I appreciate that you go to bed at 8:30. I physically can't. Like if I went to bed at 8:30, I'd roll around for 2 hours before I
That's
could fall
because you're
asleep.
sleeping through the night, babe.
Not necessarily, but I've always been like that.
Yeah, I know. You're a night owl. I'm a morning person. Like I've been getting up at 5 after the 4:45 feeding to just work on stuff because I function way better in the morning. And as the day goes on, I decline. I'm like full pumpkin mode.
But I will say we have tried to have some discussions,
Yeah,
and then we always get interrupted
we do.
by Hallie,
A person, a
who,
beautiful
if we're
person.
not giving her attention, it needs to be on her. So
Well, these are big questions. How are you really feeling? What's been heavy for you lately? Where can I be more present? Like you have to have some quiet time with each other to be able to really answer those questions.
yeah,
And I feel like sometimes because we did long distance for so long, it's easier for us to communicate through text about that stuff because we're not going to get interrupted. Like we were having a big discussion last week and I had to go pick up Hallie. So I was calling you from the car so we could finish this conversation before she got home. So I feel like if you're listening to this, you really, if you're in a hard phase of life, you have to get creative and you have to recognize that these are not easy things to talk about or ask. They're also not easy things to answer. So you have to be really willing to put yourself out there and fight, like fight for intentionality in your
yeah,
relationship.
don't fight, but
No, I mean like advocate. Advocate would be a
yeah,
better
yeah.
word. Advocate for those things.
And you have to keep a level head as well when you have these conversations,
Yeah.
because if, once it gets escalated, then it just continues to go and it's like fuel on the fire.
Mhm.
Or if you can just keep it, you know, baseline, it's easier to have
Steady.
yeah, like don't take offense, don't get hurt. Because you're asking how you're feeling, you're asking how I can be present or whatever. So if an individual is giving you an honest answer, like
You need to
you
accept
can't
that.
get your feelings hurt. Yeah, you have to accept it. So keep emotions as baseline as possible. I know it's easier said than done, but
Yeah. I think what you're trying to say is like it's not an interrogation or an accusation.
yeah.
It's more of like these are the moments these are the moments where you make your relationship better. And if you're
Mhm.
not uncomfortable, you're not growing. And so you can't grow out of a phase of transactional interactions if you're not willing to make yourself uncomfortable and push yourselves to grow through it. And so we have homework to do here too. We have not done this perfectly. And I think the biggest reason we wanted to share this with y'all today is because the whole point of this podcast was to be raw, open, honest, and vulnerable about our relationship. It's not always rainbows and sunshine. It's not always like, this is probably the least we've laughed in a podcast since we got started, but like, we're going through a hard time. We're
Mhm.
in the trenches when I talk to people, and I'm really proud of myself for not crying on this podcast. Like, go me.
It's not over.
It's not over. But like, I had a really hard time showing up to do this because, I can put on a really good act for everyone except for Eric. Like, I can pretend like everything's fine when we're out and about and we're doing things with people, and they're like, oh my gosh, you look so great. And I'm like, yeah, but behind closed doors, I am always myself, unapologetically 100% with you. And I knew coming into this podcast, I can't pretend with you. I don't pretend with you. And so I wanted to be better or be right or feel like we were in this perfect phase to get back on and record another episode. And we're just not there. And so the reason we shared this with all of you guys was our hope was like, okay, we're in this transactional phase. Maybe someone else is too. How can we all help each other hold one another accountable to pushing yourself to grow? So whether you're experiencing like a new baby or maybe a move or you're in long distance and you've got job changes coming up, like we've talked to people who are in a really pivotal point of the relationship, like do you want to fight your way through it? Or if you're not married and you are thinking about making a change in your relationship, do you want to walk away and try something else? And I think if you can't have these conversations with your significant other and really move forward, then you're with the wrong person. And like we know we're with the right people. So we have to fight even harder because we don't get to walk away. We go to bed together every night, like in the same bed, same space. So it's like we have to work through these hard phases because we chose each other and we want to continue to choose each other every day. Or at least I do. I don't want to put words in your mouth, but
Yeah.
I want to choose you forever.
I will choose you
Thank you.
forever as
That was a
well.
very long pause. Like, okay, is it coming? We're on the air.
What I said.
I will edit that out if I have to. We've never edited our conversation.
I told you yesterday, I like to keep you on your toes.
Yeah, it's really annoying.
Gotta humble you sometimes.
For a long time, I think I made the joke that I stayed with Eric as long as I did, and then we have to close. Like we've been going for a long time. we can talk about this all day. For a long time, I always made the joke that the reason I stayed with Eric so long was because I never actually knew what you were feeling about me. Like you've always been a chase. And I like feel like in previous relationships, it was always easy. And so I'd get bored and move on to like the next person. And you never were boring because I never knew, like, I'm like, does he actually like me? Like, what is happening? Like the first time that we had, I don't know if we've ever shared our story about, maybe we did about, yes, we did. You making me wait for the kiss. Like when we first started dating, still to this day, we're going into year 18. Is it year 18
Mhm.
together?
Yeah.
I'm like, you say I'm keeping you on your toes. I'm like, do you have to keep me on my toes forever? Because it would just be really nice to not have to be on my
You're a
toes.
returning customer and you keep buying the product, so my methods are working.
So,
Any guys out there, take it slow. Don't kiss her on the first date.
okay. Well, with that, we're going to share all these questions with you guys. I don't know how, but I'll figure it out. It may be as simple as me just having it. And if you want it, you can send us a DM once we post the episode. But we really appreciate you coming back and listening to us. Thank you for your patience with us as we've kind of let the carrot dangle. We've left a dangling carrot on the next episode.
Yeah.
We didn't mean to make it that way. It was totally on me, but we're glad that you're here. We hope that you keep coming back. Share, subscribe, like, comment. We love to hear from you all. We appreciate you continuing to be with us.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Have a great day.
Make it a good one. Bye.
Bye. And remember, no matter where you are on your journey, every step is a chance to grow together during both perfect and even imperfect moments.
We'll be here to help keep the conversation going, so join us next time for more insights, lots of laughs, and our story. Until then, keep talking, keep listening, and keep showing up for each other. See you next time.